Alright, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be converting units. So we're going to be being able to convert between different metric units and English imperial units, and a nice easy way to set that up. Alright, so today's objectives, converting units from one to another. Alright, so unit conversions are needed because there's a wide variety of units that are used in different industries around the world. The US uses the imperial system, and pretty much the rest of the world is now on the metric system. So what happens if you're given one type of unit, but you need to actually measure in a different one? So pounds, kilograms, inches, and centimeters, and let's not get started on all the temperature units, Kelvin, degrees Celsius, degrees Fahrenheit, and so forth. Alright, so this is why it's needed. And also to make sure people know how to read. Like this flight had 22,300 pounds of jet fuel, but it actually needed the 22,300 kilograms. That's actually a big difference in the amount of fuel, so kind of ran out. Alright, so we're going to take this first example to convert from kilometers to miles. Alright, and what we're going to use is we're going to be setting up ratios of converting from one unit to another unit. Now, sometimes we'll need to use multiple ratios if we don't know an exact ratio from one unit to our desired unit. We might have to go to an intermediate unit if we know those values. So some ratios that we do know, there are 12 inches in a foot, 16 ounces in a pound, 60 minutes in 1 hour. We're going to be utilizing these to help us convert these units. Alright, so we're going to go through a couple of examples here. Alright, so here in this example, we're going to go from 30 feet to inches. Alright, so we're going to set it up 30 feet. And you can write shorthand as well if you wish. And now what we're going to do is we're going to set up a ratio. And the way we set up a ratio is we're going to put the old unit on the opposite side of our fraction bar from where it was originally. So here feet is in the numerator, and now we're going to put it in the denominator on the opposite side, and the new unit goes on the same side as the old unit. And now we need the ratio. How many inches are in 1 foot? How many feet are in an inch? Whatever value is easier for you to remember or look up. So there are 12 inches in 1 foot. And then we are going to multiply our values across. And we're going to get 360 inches. Now what happens to the feet units? Well, feet in the numerator divided by feet in the denominator, they actually cancel out. Alright, so like units will end up canceling each other out when they're on the opposite side of that fraction bar. Alright, now we're going to go from meters per second to feet per second. So 25 meters per second. Now meters is in the numerator, seconds is in the denominator. Now we're going to leave the seconds alone because we don't need to change it at all, so it'll just stay here. And we're going to be putting the old unit on the bottom because meters is on top, and then we're going to put the new unit on the same side. Now I know just from memory that they're about 3.3 feet in 1 meter. You might have to look this up, or you might need to go to an intermediate unit if you know a ratio between, say, inches and centimeters. Alright, so there, when we do the math and calculate, there are 82.5 feet per second. Alright, so meters on top will cancel out the meters on the bottom. Feet doesn't cancel out, it stays top. Seconds doesn't change because we weren't converting the time unit, and it stays on the bottom. Alright, now we're going to convert 700 hours to weeks by performing one conversion at a time. Alright, so there are 700 hours that we're going to start with. Now we're going to go to an intermediate unit that is between hours and weeks, which happens to be the day. Alright, so All right, hours is going to go on bottom, opposite of hours, and we're going to put days on top. We know there are 24 hours in one day. And then we're going to convert days, or day, there are 7 of them in 1 week. And then we're going to do the math. We're going to multiply across the top, divide across the bottom. So 700 times 1 times 1 is 700, divided by 24, divided by 7, gives us 4.16667. So I'm just going to round it to 4.17. Now, where you round it will depend on how precise your teacher wants you to be. But I usually do 2 decimal places. We're going to convert meters per second into miles per hour. Alright, so what we're going to do first is I'm going to change the numerator unit first, meters to miles. But I don't know how many meters are in a mile, but I do know that in 1 meter there are 3.3 feet in 1 meter. And then I know there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. Alright, so meter on top cancels meter on bottom. Feet on top cancels feet on the bottom, so we're going to have miles left over. We still have to change the time unit, seconds into hours. Now, seconds is on the bottom right now, which means in the ratio, we're going to put it on top. It needs to go on the opposite side of that fraction bar from where it was, and we're going to put hours on the bottom. Now, if you don't know how many seconds are in 1 hour, you can always go to minutes and then again to hours, but there are 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. Alright, so again, we're going to multiply across the top, divide across the bottom. And we get 56.25. Alright, miles per hour. Second units got canceled out. Okay? Alright, so I have another video coming up with some more practice examples here. And then you should go and complete the practice worksheet and review the answer key in the work video when you're done. Once you're feeling good, complete the Section 5 concept check.